Hi, my name is Henrique Dugubras. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Brex.
Welcome, Enrique. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
It's actually funny to see Brex evolve so much throughout the years since college years. And I remember when you were first starting it with Pedro, and at the same time, try to scramble classes at Stanford. You have come a long way.
Definitely come a long way since then. I'm probably doing a better job at Brex than at my classes at Stanford right now.
I think the magical part of school at those times were getting to know awesome people like you, and at the same time thinking about various ideas that could really change things in the world.
100%.
So one of the things I remember from those times that persisted with you is your vision and how committed you are to actualizing that vision with Brex. So tell us a little bit about what is Brex and how it came to be from those early days and what's still persisting today.
So what we're trying to do here at Brex is create all-in-one finance for businesses. And what that means is integrating the traditional financial services. So this is, for example, corporate card, business accounts, lending, and things like that, with the software to control it, such as expense management, bill pay, and other things. And we started the corporate card. Corporate card for startups was our first product, but that was just the beginning for us. Since then, we launched our business checking account, and we launched our expense management and bill pay products as well. And the integration of all that is what we call all-in-one finances. And it's, kind of what we're building towards.
Can you tell me a little bit more about how you came up with that idea? Because all-in-one finance it was new at the time too, right? When I think about those years, and even now, looking at the various financial services companies, that was not really the leading idea to go forward and enable these solutions for all users with the best experience. So how did you come up with that?
I think it's just being customer focused, right? I think when you look at the CFOs, VP of Finance, and founders, they all have to interact with 6 or 7 different systems that don't talk to each other super well, right? And if anyone who manages knows that it's kind of hard to patch these things together. And we view the world in which all of this was in one place. And consolidating the tools is really interesting. But what's more interesting is what else can you do now that everything is consolidated? What wasn't possible before that now is possible because everything is in one place.
Yeah. You started with a very specific audience in the beginning, right? You went after startups and then from there really expanded across the board. Can you tell us a little bit more about focusing on that audience and understanding the pain points and solving those, and then expanding across the board now to many other organizations and companies that are looking for these financial services solutions?
As you said, Brex has come a long way. I remember when we blasted San Francisco billboards, Brex, the corporate card for startups, super clear message to super clear audience, right? And today we do a lot more than corporate cards to bunch of different segments such as e-commerce, professional service, construction companies. We literally have the most diverse set of customers possible. But I think starting with startups was super important because startups, they have a super high bar for product, right? They're not willing to tolerate product that is mediocre. They want something that is easy and fast and simple, like everything else they use in their life. And I think that made us build a much better experience than if we had started with other businesses. So I think it was super positive.
So a fun fact, actually, I believe Scale was one of the early customers for Brex. Is that correct?
Our first customer, actually.
Wow, look at that. I think it's great that growing from a small startup to a bigger company building machine learning infrastructure now, Brex really supported us along the way for all those new capabilities that we needed as a business to manage our financial affairs.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually one of the first premises of Brex, is building a solution that scales for our customers and also to first scale for ourselves, right? We also grew a lot since we launched Brex. I would hate to be one of those companies that as they grow, they need to switch to some sort of, enterprise provider because you can't support yourself.
I think one thing that really separated you from a lot of the companies that focused on disrupting financial services was your commitment to technology. Tell us a little bit about how you're using technology to make Brex the company that leads the charge to democratize access to various solutions and financial services.
I think that if you look at banks today and you look at fintech, right, it's not that the banks didn't have the ideas that the fintech had. It's just really hard for them to operationalize because of the legacy technology and the enterprise providers that they used. And at Brex, we made a different decision of building most of our technology from scratch, but also partnering with the leading partners in each field in order to build the most modern technology and therefore being able to innovate. So a lot of what we do, like we've talked to people in banks and sometimes they had the idea, it was just too hard to execute with their current technology stack.
A lot of people sometimes come to me and ask about when they should build solutions internally and when they should outsource, like buy solutions externally. And of course, I have my own answer for that. But I want to ask you, as a CEO of a company who is making these trade-offs every day, how do you make those decisions for various solutions that you're offering today?
I think the reality is we need to put the customer first. So how do we deliver the best experience possible for the customer? If that is building in-house, we build in-house. But a lot of times there is someone who's been working on it for years and would do a better job than our engineers would do in the short period of time that we have to build it, and therefore we partner.
Tell us a little bit more about how you are thinking of implementing technology in the existing products you have in Brex, but also the future products that you're thinking of building today.
An important part of this is the stage of Brex, right? In the beginning of Brex, we were in a stage of building our first products and, leveraging AI for a few things that we built. But since we got to scale, we now have so much more data that we can leverage to build new products and better experiences. And some of the things that you mentioned are exactly on point. So how do we use AI to better onboard customers so we can onboard them faster and better? How do we use it to originate loans? How do we use it to optimize our customers' treasury and finances and give them insight into what they're spending on, why they're spending on it, and should they be spending on it? And I think as we accumulate data, we have the opportunity to create new products and leverage AI not only as a solution to automate things, but to create new experiences for our customers.
Data has been traditionally an underinvested opportunity, especially in financial services. Why do you think that?
Going back, I think it's because of the legacy technologies that the bank had in the past. They sometimes had like 7 databases with customer records that were hard to migrate into one thing, right? And I think they're getting better over the years, but historically, I think that's been the case. And I think with Brex, we have the opportunity by having not only the data, but the data in the right structure and the clean data to take a lot of advantage of it and build amazing products.
Yeah. Henrique, when we started talking about the solution in the beginning, I love that one of your first questions and concerns were a lot about the security of data and privacy. And that was just a great example to me of a founder who really cares about its customers and also wants to hold its vendors accountable of that security and privacy implications.
I think at the core of financial services is trust. One thing we learned from our customers is no matter how cool your products are, no matter what you do, if they don't trust you, nothing is worth it, right? I think that trust we extended, as you said, to all of our vendors to make sure that, if the customer is trusting us with our data, that we need to be super sure that our vendors are treating this data correctly. And I think Scale definitely got A+ in that department when working together. The industry will require everyone to have this kind of security and anonymization and privacy, and we can see that that's the direction it's going, especially in financial services.
One of the areas we're working on is on bill pay. earlier on when you were building this product and we were talking about partnering, you didn't move forward with scale. So tell us a little bit more about that and how did you change your mind afterwards?
Ooh, you're gonna call me out of my mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, early on we didn't pick scale. We went with a different provider, and it was a big mistake, and costly to change. But I think what was different about scale was we thought that OCR was enough, and the reality it wasn't. I think with the fine-tuned scale ML models, we were able to not only OCR it, but get the real content of what was happening with that invoice. And with the humans in the loop, we're also able to increase accuracy a lot, because if the AI wasn't enough, the human would jump in less than 2 minutes to fix it. And I think that got the accuracy to a point in which we could actually use this as a differentiated feature, right? So when we're pitching our bill pay product, the accuracy and the speed is one of the main focuses of our pitch, and that was only possible after the partnership with scale. So yes, we went with someone earlier on. We had to switch it. I wish we just went to scale from the beginning.
One of the things that made that whole process very easy actually has been the partnership with your teams, right? I think there's nothing like a team who understands deploying machine learning models is not the completion of the process. It's just the beginning. And really your teams understood that so well that they knew that after the deployment, right, with more data and the continuous learning from that data, the model performance increases every day, right? And I think it just made it so easy for us to communicate around their needs and to make sure that we could attend to those needs. I think that's the number one differentiator for engineering teams who end up being very successful in implementing AI with internally or with vendors versus not. And they really had that element. It was a pleasure to work with them.
Yeah, no, the team working on it is fantastic. And I think that also that's one of the things I noticed different in scale is with other vendors, it was kind of a plug and play. We did it, we sent it things, and the accuracy was that. And with scale, we felt that we had the support to continuously improve and continuously increase the accuracy and the speed of the model. And I think it was, both sides. Working with your team was great. And I saw how talented your engineers were, which is very inspiring.
Thank you. So I, for one, am so excited to watch what future holds for Brex. Tell us a little bit of a sneak peek. So what are you focusing on? What are your priorities when it comes to new products, implementing AI, and increasing the amount of technology used in providing these solutions? Where is Brex going?
Brex has, I would say, two main focus over the next year. One is around efficiency. Now, as we started serving small businesses, we now have many thousands of small businesses signing up every month. How to create an amazing experience for every single one of those customers, so we can make it better than going to the branch like they did before, having to call to confirm wires and things like that. And I think using AI is a big part of the way we improve this experience. The second big focus for Brex is going more upmarket. How do we help larger companies and enterprises manage their spend? And also, how can we use AI to increase the control and how much they actually know about what's going on in their business? So those are kind of like two big focus areas in which we're investing in AI for over next year.
That's great to hear. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.